Hello men and gentle ladies, and welcome back to Surviving the Whiteout, where in today's video I wanted to take a brief look at Gen 1 heroes, and specifically which heroes you should be prioritizing, whether they be the Mythic Heroes or the Epic Heroes, what your focus should be, because Gen 1 doesn't last long. It's the shortest generation in terms of time span, and Gen 2 creeps up very quickly. So it's important to get the best start possible in Gen 1. Now, I've done a few videos on Gen 1, in terms of attacking heroes, defensive heroes, and heroes with economic skills or not combat skills per se. So I'm not going to go over them too much, and we'll just have a quick whistle-stop tour over those ones just so we can focus on the main ones that we want to prioritize. Now, the first Gen 1 heroes to talk about are just the blue heroes, the common heroes. You've got Clarice, you've got Smith, you've got Charlie, and you've got Eugene. All of them have skills that are very important, particularly those expedition skills. These are those economic ones that I was talking about that don't help with your combat at all. They're incredibly important for gathering. Each one of the blue heroes focuses on a particular resource type. So Eugene, in this case, focuses on wood. So if you get Eugene's skill up high, then you can gather more wood out on the world map. You can get more wood in your own city. You can increase that output. So all of these heroes are incredibly important. Now, I wouldn't focus solely on one of these heroes. I wouldn't just get Eugene's skill as high as possible. I would try and focus on all of them. You can see that all of mine are 4-star or close to being 4-star. So my advice isn't to use all of your blue shards on one of the heroes and get them to 5-star as quickly as possible. I would try and level them up fairly evenly. These two are fairly close. In fact, he's all ready to upgrade, so I'll upgrade him during SVS, SVS prep, which is next week. And then Eugene is also ready to get there. And if you want to use those blue shards at the bottom, those generic ones that you have, I would just see which of the heroes is closest to that next level and use them to get them to the next level. Now, there's a lot of purple heroes, and again, some of these have skills that are incredibly important. Again, I'll leave a card for it in the end screen where I cover the importance of these skills. But anytime you see this green hammer, this is basically giving you something passive for when you're not fighting. And each one of these skills is incredibly important. So Ling Shua increases your training speed, which is great. Other heroes such as Seo-yoon increase your healing speed. They all give you very useful things. So any hero that has one of those skills, you do want to work on them. Jasser has a skill that increases your research speed. You want to get that as high as possible because any chance to increase your research speed is all good. Now, all of these epic heroes, all these purple heroes are important. You're going to want to get as many of them to 4-star as quickly as possible and to get at least one of their skills to level 5 as soon as possible, because you're going to see a vast benefit from it. Now, you can see with this account I've been going for 2 or 3 months, I think. I can't remember exactly how long, and I haven't always kept up to date with it, so I've fallen behind a little bit on some of them. But I've tried to focus in the areas that I think are most important. And some of the purple heroes are harder to level up because their shards are harder to come by. You can see that Ling and Lumak are both lower than everyone else just because their shards are much harder to come by. So it's not a major issue if you don't have them all to the same level, but there are certain ones that I would recommend. Now, I would say there are 2 epic heroes that are the most important in terms of what they give you in the early game, and the first one is Jessie. Now, the reason she is so important, because if you get Gene's skill, I think I'm still thinking of Eugene from earlier. If you get Jessie's skill to level 5, then that gives you that damage up boost of 25%. And this stays relevant throughout the entirety of the game. And I mean the entirety of the game. She will be one of your best joiners in Bear Trap. She will be one of the best joiners in Castle Battle, in Foundry. Pretty much anytime somebody calls a rally, Jessie is going to be one of the best joiners to send. So working on her straight away gives you a great boost. Now, she also is decent in Arena. She'll give you a good boost in the early game, so she certainly is someone who you can use both in Exploration and in Expedition. She is just a great hero in the early game. She won't necessarily be used when you're starting your own rallies, but in so many aspects of the game, she's so important. She'll increase your Bear Trap scores early on if you become one of the selected 4 joiners in a rally. Jessie is an absolute priority in Gen 1. The next hero who I would say is the next biggest priority would be Sergey. Now, Sergey is the opposite to Jessie in the sense that his first skill is defensive, but he becomes incredibly important. He's probably going to be the one that you get to 4-star before Patrick. I think I got my Sergey to 4-star before I got Patrick. Now, Patrick and Sergey are both great defensive heroes, so spoiler alert, Patrick is also a bit of a priority. But Sergey becomes a priority because he will be your best infantry hero unless you spend. If you don't spend in the game, if you are free to play, Sergey will be your best infantry hero in Gen 1 without question. You'll use him to start rallies, you'll use him to start a rally in Bear Trap. He won't be the best in Bear Trap, but he's the best that you've got, and he's a bit of a defensive beast. And he's somebody that you'll be using, again, throughout the entirety of the game. There'll be other heroes that you'll be able to use in conjunction with him, but we're over a year into the game, and when we defend, we send Patrick, we send Sergey, we send some other heroes as well from other generations, but Patrick and Sergey are incredibly important. So I would say Jessie and Sergey are the two first priorities in terms of who you want to get to 4-star, who you want to get those skills to level 5 so that you can benefit from them. We've spoken about Patrick. Again, he absolutely is a priority. He gives you that defensive boost, which is invaluable in the early game when you're fighting for facilities against other alliances. He's an absolute beast. And there are two other heroes that I would really recommend pushing as quickly as possible. The first one being Bahiti. Now, Bahiti isn't the best hero. He's going to be quickly replaced in future generations. In Gen 2, he gets replaced by a very, very good marksman hero, but he's just a decent all-round hero that's going to carry you through the early game. Again, he's decent in exploration. I'm not going to go through every single one of the skills, but he is very good in exploration. He'll give you a boost in arena. He's certainly a decent all-round hero. Again, nothing incredible. He'll likely, if you are free to play, be your rally starter alongside Molly and alongside Sergey. He's going to give you a solid base, and I would just recommend working on Bahiti. Now, the good thing about a lot of these heroes is that they are fairly easy to build early on, because you do get a lot of their shards from using your keys, from sometimes doing your intel missions, so you can get them to a decent level fairly early. Now, we are about to come up to, I think, our second lucky wheel spin in Gen 2. You can see that I've got Flint to 3-star, so we're not that far into Gen 2, and I've got all of the heroes that I've suggested to 4-star, and I haven't spent on this account. This is what I've been able to do in the first few months in the game. Actually, I say I haven't spent in the game. There was actually one pack I bought. What was it called? It was the pack very early on in the game that gives you Jasser and Seo-yoon shards that I would recommend people buy. If you're a free-to-play player, obviously don't. But if you spend in the game, that is a decent thing to buy early on in the game, because it gives you shards for Jasser and Seo-yoon that are difficult to come by. And although we haven't really spoken about them, they become two great joiners in Bear Trap and two great joiners overall. They have similar skills to Jessie. They work slightly differently, but they are two brilliant joiners, so they are people you're going to want to work on as well, just a little bit less of a priority than the other ones. Now, the final hero to recommend is Gina, and it shouldn't be a massive surprise. Again, I've done a video about Gina and why she's so important, and it is because of these skills, particularly this top one that reduces your stamina cost. She's going to save you stamina every time you call a rally. Instead of spending 25 stamina on a rally, you're going to spend 20. Instead of spending 10 stamina to hunt a beast, you'll spend 8. It just saves you in the long run and allows you to hunt more and get more rewards. But she's also a decent exploration hero. You can see from her first exploration skill, Gina's incendiary shot deals attack 290% damage to an enemy target, as well as attack 98% damage to others nearby. She's one of those area of effect heroes that are brilliant in arena. Anytime you see that at the bottom there, the area of effect damage up for a hero that has that exploration skill, they're gonna be pretty damn good in arena. So she is one of those all-round heroes. Yes, she's not going to give you anything in terms of combat in Expedition, in rallies against other players at all. She's going to be absolutely useless there. But in terms of daily things that you do, calling rallies, doing your intel missions, and then arena, she just becomes such a valuable hero early on. You can get her shards by hunting beasts using the, forget what they're called now, the Horns of the Cryptid, is that what it's called? Yeah. So use these as much as you can. Make sure you've always got 10 around so that when the Gina's Revenge event comes around that you can use them to also get 10 more shards. But those main 4 that I've spoken about would be my priority, particularly if you are free to play. It would be Gina, Jessie, Sergey, and Bahiti. They give you different things. Some of them aren't the strongest in the particular areas, but if you are free to play, these 4 are going to really help carry you through the early game. And it's a similar principle to what I said about the blue heroes, what I would recommend people doing. When you have those epic shards to use, just see how close they are to getting to the next level. So with Sergey, for example, I know I can upgrade him 2 more sections in the next SVS prep, and then I'll have 79 shards left over. So it wouldn't be a bad place to use 21 shards in order to get him 1 more higher. For Jessie, I will again get her 2 sections more leveled. I don't know what to call them, sections on the star, whatever they're called. I'll be able to level her up 2 more times, and then I'll have 7 shards left. I could use 93, but I could also go and see if any of the other ones are closer. And then we get on to the Mythic Heroes. Now, the Mythic Heroes in Gen 1 are different to any other generation for a couple of reasons. One, because you have 4. In every other generation, you have 3. Whereas in this one we have 4 because we have 2 infantry heroes. And also it's the only generation where you can build a mythic hero completely for free, and that is Molly. Now Molly should be a focus for you regardless of your level of spend, just because you're going to be getting her anyway. But my recommendation is to avoid putting any general mythic shards into Molly. You're going to be able to use them a lot more effectively in future generations, so as much as the temptation is there to use them all, I would save them for Gen 2. And you can get her to 4-star fairly quickly without having to use your mythic shards, and she becomes a great hero. She's going to be your best Lancer hero for, I mean, this generation. She gets very quickly replaced, but she is decent. Again, she's got that area of effect damage up. She's so good in arena in the early game. She gives you a massive boost. She's a great rally starter. She's got a great defensive widget, which increases your defender troops lethality by 15% when it's all the way up. So if you're using her to garrison, she's absolutely incredible. But in terms of her widget, I would only focus on it if you are a spender. If you are free to play, then just completely ignore her widget. You're going to be able to make use of other widgets. You're never really going to be a garrison lead. You're never really going to be a rally lead if you are free to play. And with a widget like that, you don't really want to focus on that. So I would move away from that. But if you're a spender, if you've got loads of money to chuck at this game, Molly is a good hero, but she does get fairly quickly replaced. Now, Zinman is the next one, and he is the first Lucky Wheel hero of this game. But Generation 1, because it only lasts, I think, 40 days, so it's very short, you only get a few spins of him on the wheel. So you're not going to be able to max Zinman on the Lucky Wheel, unlike you will be able to for other generations. Now, if you are a spender in the game, then spin the Lucky Wheel 120 times every time, chuck some shards in here to get him to 4-star as quickly as possible, for the main reason of getting that economic skill up to level 5 so that you get the boost to your construction speed and also reduce the cost. But if you are free to play, then I would honestly skip Zinman other than a couple of spins on the Lucky Wheel. Maybe spin it to 70 times when it comes around. Definitely don't spin it to 120 if you are free to play, and save your gems for Gen 2, because spoiler alert for another video, the Lucky Wheel hero in Gen 2 is an absolute must, not just for free to play players, but for all players. Now, Zinman is a good hero. Again, if you're a spender, he does have a lot of benefits. Again, he's got a decent widget which offers a nice defensive boost. So Molly increases your defender troops lethality while he increases your defender troops attack. He's a great defensive hero if you are the garrison lead. If you are the biggest spender in your alliance or in your state, he's a must, especially with a level 10 widget. He's going to be brilliant for the castle battle. He's going to be brilliant for defending in Foundry. He's going to be brilliant for facility battles, for stronghold, but only if you are a spender. If you're not a massive spender, then he is skippable. You can get away with not working on Zinman. My preference is people get him to 4-star as quickly as possible. That doesn't mean as quickly as possible, because I would rather people save their mythic shards for Gen 2. But when you can, I would get him to 4-star for the sole purpose, really, of that economic skill. He's a decent bear trap rally starter. Not a huge upgrade on Bahiti, but he's fine. But, yeah, if you're a spender and a big spender, focus on Zinman. If you're a low spender or free to play, spin the wheel a few times, get a few of his shards, and eventually try to get him to 4-star. Other than that, ignore him. Now, the other 2 heroes are Natalia and Jeronimo. Now, Natalia, you get to 1-star for free, I believe. Maybe not for free, I can't remember. You do something to get her to 1-star. but then that is it. Now, you can't use shards to upgrade her, so the only way to upgrade Natalia is via the VIP shop. So we go and take a look at the VIP shop. At level 1, the pack for her costs $4.99, then $9.99, then $19.99, then $49.99, then $99.99, and then $99.99 again. I got confused there. There's too many nines. A lot of nines. Basically, Natalia is expensive. And if we move past that to VIP level 7, you will see Jeronimo come up. Now, I can't see how much his packs cost, simply because on this account I haven't got that far yet, but it follows the same principle. I don't know if the last two were both $99.99. One of them might be $49.99. I can't remember. But these heroes are very expensive. Now, Natalia is great. She offers some great skills, and the good thing about these two heroes is that they also have an extra skill here that no other hero has. So they give you an extra boost. So you get an extra increase in their attacks there. Natalia's skills are great. You can see I don't have them all upgraded, but again, we see that area of effect damage up. She's a brilliant hero in Arena, and she's a brilliant hero in Expedition. When you're calling rally, she's a great bear trap rally starter. She's a great hero. She's a great garrison hero. Natalia is great, but she's not as good as Jeronimo, and that's where the issue lies. Because if you are a big spender in the game, then get Natalia and then get Jeronimo. But if you're not the biggest spender and you want a guaranteed good hero, then Jeronimo is your man. Now, he is much more expensive. Now, I know I said the packs follow a similar principle in terms of how much they cost, but in order to get to VIP 12 or even VIP 11, where you could max him out if you also won an earlier Hall of Chiefs, in order to get there, you've got to spend a lot of money, particularly if you want to get there in Gen 1. I don't even know how much it would cost, but it would cost a lot. So if you are a spender and money isn't an issue to you and you just want the best team possible, get Jeronimo. Because not only is he the best Gen 1 Mythic hero, he's one of the best Mythic heroes in the entire game. He becomes the best bear trap rally leader forever. Like, literally, he is so good. He is such a good arena hero. He's good in so many areas, and he will stay relevant for a very, very, very long time. So Natalia is a good investment. She has great skills. She will be a phenomenal person to have, and she will be your best infantry hero without question in Gen 1 if you don't have Jeronimo. She will be your best hero in Gen 1. If you get her maxed in Gen 1, she will be your best hero, but she doesn't stay relevant for nearly as long as Jeronimo. Now, I've been playing on my other account for almost 15 months, I think, so 1 year and 3 months. It's been a long time, and I'm at VIP level 10, so I'm not in a position to max Jeronimo, and I haven't put a ton of money into this account, but I put some in there, and I'm still nowhere near after that amount of time. So if you want Jeronimo, and if you are a spender and you're willing to put in thousands of pounds into this game, he is definitely your man. He is probably the biggest investment in this game, not just in terms of how much he costs, but how long he stays relevant, how much you get out of him. If you are somehow able to max Jeronimo, even to get him to 4-star and get his skills to level 5 and get that widget to level 10, if you can somehow manage to do that in Gen 1 or Gen 2, you are in a very strong position. He will be the best bear trap rally lead, as I said. He will be the best hero to have in SVS when you're defending the castle. He is the best hero to have in rallies and garrisons. He is just an absolute beast. So overall for Gen 1, my recommendation, if you are a spender, to focus on Jeronimo. If you're a lower spender, then you can focus on Natalia. I focus on Natalia on my other account, and she served me well and still serves me well to an extent, even though we're now in Gen 7. But Jeronimo he's the guy. He is the Whiteout Survival hero that you want if you are an absolute whale in this game. So my advice would be, if you are a whale, to focus on him. Natalia is certainly the next best option if you want a great infantry hero in Gen 1 and you're not able to push that high. But I would say only get Natalia if you can justify it. It's a lot of money. And if you're pushing for Jeronimo as well and you've got the money to do it, fair enough. If you don't and you're a mid-spender in the game, honestly, I would probably skip Natalia. So if you are free to play, then just focus on Molly. Don't use any of your Mythic General Shards if you can get away with it. Maybe use a couple to try and get Zinman up a couple of levels just so you get some use out of that economic construction skill. Other than that, save for Gen 2 and for future generations. You're going to get Mythic Shards for Molly anyway, so you don't need to use any for Molly. She will become one of your strongest heroes in Gen 1, regardless of whether you put anything into her, just because you get given so many of her shards early on. But focus on Gina, focus on Jessie, focus on Sergey and Bahiti. They're going to give you good value early on in the game if you use some of your Mythic Shards on them, particularly if you are free to play. If you're a spender when it comes to the Epic Heroes, you're probably not going to be as focused on them because you'll likely have a team of Mythic Heroes, but they will still give you great benefits, particularly Gina with saving your Polar Terror cost and your Hunting Beast cost, Jessie for being a great joiner, Sergey and Patrick for being great defensive joiners. There's still a lot of value in these purple heroes. So let me know below what you focused on in Gen 1, who you found the most use out of, who you think is underrated, who you think is overrated. Me personally, I think Zinman is... I don't think he's overrated because I don't think anyone even rates him. But my start to Gen 1 was terrible in my first account when I didn't know what I was doing. I've had a better start in my second account now that I know what I'm doing. But let me know below how you started the game, who you focused on, and who you saw most value in. So thank you for watching. As always, if you aren't subscribed, then please do consider subscribing. If you don't like the content, you can always unsubscribe later. But thank you for those that have subscribed, for those that watch and comment. Please keep watching, please keep commenting, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.